Ghouls is Ukraine's most chilling urban legend, tied to the 1932 famine when 7 million starved. Desperate to survive, many resorted to cannibalism, even children eating their own. It's a haunting tale of human desperation. Many years later, when people were trying to forget this scary history, then the horrific cannibalism incidents came to the fore again. The horror stories of the Ghouls began to spread again. Precisely a few years after the cannibalism incidents, a documentary team decided to move to Ukraine when they learned that Boris, the main culprit of cannibalism, had been released from prison. But the strange thing is that they disappeared shortly after the team arrived in Ukraine. There were scary passages in the video, so it was advisable to watch alone. The videotape found in an old warehouse in 2015 opened the mystery of the team's disappearance and made the story of the Ghouls even more mysterious. This girl's name is Jenny. She's the host of the documentary team, and this is her first recording after reaching Ukraine. After the initial introduction, she met the local guideship and translator Linnaeus. After paying the fees, he went to meet the survivors of the famine with the guide. According to him, people avoided eating human food at the beginning of the famine. Many people used to eat the corpses by hiding in the tunnels near the village. But soon some people started eating live humans. Some started selling human flesh patties. At that time, many cannibals were also caught. But the strange thing was that they did not regret eating humans. To confirm that some people said they felt like someone else had control over their bodies when they were eating humans, the guide introduced them to a local professor who studied the history of famines, the professor said, adding that for so many years they have been studying the cause and effect of similar cases. But some cases are really very strange, especially the case of Boris that happened a few years ago. They hypnotized Boris, and the hypnotized Boris accepted the male eater, but he said that he was unconscious, and some supernatural force controlled him. After meeting the professor, the team immediately reached Boris's village. They wanted to interview the cannibal Boris as soon as possible. The video also became very strange from here. They first went to the wood factory where Boris worked. He was working inside. He asked for $100 for the interview. The team agreed, but they also put a condition that the interview should be done at the crime scene itself. When everyone reached, Boris found that the translator was very interested in Lena. He kept praising her beauty, quickly took off the gloves and touched Lena's stomach. Seeing this, the director and Lena were scared, but Boris calmly took out the bunch of keys. It was the keys to the crime scene. He gave those keys to Lena, told her to go there and wait. He will finish the work and come. Lena took the keys and left with everyone, but Boris kept staring at Lena's back. Before going to the crime scene, the guide called a local jungle media, because the place was in a deep forest, very dangerous. The locals never went there. With the jungle media, they were a little relaxed, so everyone went with him. The car continued to move in the forest without a road, finally stopped near a lying dry tree, got out of the car, and after walking some distance, some broken wooden houses hidden in the dense forest appeared. Wooden houses. The guide opened the door with the key. Everyone followed him to the courtyard. According to the information, it was a village at the time of the Great Famine. Because this place was very hidden, that's why most of the cannibalism incidents took place here, and decades later Boris ate his colleague in this house. Boris was in jail for a few years due to not finding the corpse, and then he was released. When the guide opened the door, a mirror was hanging on the door. The room looked strange, but the luggage was organized. The dust on the table seemed to have been here for a long time. The attic was open above the mirror. They were frightened to see bloody shoes there. After the usual shooting of other rooms, they installed lights and cameras in Boris's room, put cameras in the corners, did it with generators. They saw the guide and Linmai arguing outside. Boris didn't come until 8 p.m. He made several calls but didn't get any answer. The city was far away, and it was dangerous to drive in the forest at night, so he decided to stay there. But Linmai was feeling bad. She was telling him to leave. The guide told Lena not to tell the team and told them that they would stay too. The night got darker, it got colder. They drank vodka and ate dry meat. The guide told a secret about Boris. It is said that before eating the colleague, he was at the same table, probably because of the cold. The cameraman and translator Linmai were sitting on a bed. Only Linmai was sitting on the table, in a serious posture. When everyone woke up, she told Linmai that the guide was dead. The ghost he called killed her. Now no one should go without turning the glass of the table. No one should go without driving away the ghost, otherwise everyone will die. Jenny laughed. The director angrily stopped Linmai and asked Linmai not to tell ghost stories. The director thought the guide ran away with the money. He took the money but did not report. He had to leave while they were still asleep. Then he went to call the guide. He called many times but no one answered. They didn't trust Lin Mei. They thought he was in cahoots with the guide. The film crew gave up. Linnaeus was told to call the local driver but no one was willing to come. In the end, Linnaeus called a friend from Kiev who, due to the distance, would only be able to arrive tomorrow. They were forced to stay another night. The director thought they could wait for Boris and then start shooting. They wanted to interview Lin Mei. Jenny asked, "Is the ghost still here?" Lin Mei replied, "Yes, he will not leave until his demands are met." Jenny questioned the guide, "How do we know you are telling the truth? What does the ghost want? What are the ghost's demands?" Lin Mei said, "The ghost is now weak. He will soon be demanding more, and then you will believe me." The cameraman then said, "There's something new in last night's footage." The video showed that during the ritual last night, Lin Mei tried to stop them, but the recordings revealed she arrived late. They had already summoned the ghost. Lin Mei said angrily, "The guide only cares about money, now everyone can die." The drunk guide also cursed Lin Mei, saying she also came for money. No one said a word to each other. The guide said he's going to get Boris. Seeing all this, everyone was stunned, as no one recalled what happened after the magic. At first they thought something was mixed in the alcohol, but the guide and Lina had brought it. But they had drunk it all themselves. The videographer checked again and found their hands never touched the cup while shooting. The cup moved strangely on its own. Seeing the video, all were a bit upset but had no way out. They went home and soon it got dark. The director suggested doing another soul summoning ritual and asking its demand. Lin Mei chanted the mantra and asked if it was still present. For a long time there was no response. As everyone thought it was a prank, suddenly an invisible force shoved the pentagram into a corner. Just as Lin was about to speak, the director asked, "May I ask you a question?" This time, without hesitation, it quickly moved towards the test. Suddenly, all lights went out. Everyone was confused. In the darkness, a cup scraped across the table. The eerie sound resembled a knife, terrifying everyone. The cameraman hastily turned on the light, but the cup was still moving on its own. It was clear no one had touched it in the dark. The cup's final movement spelled out a message: "Dig up the bone warehouse." Lin Mei said this was his first demand. Everyone was shocked and afraid, had to show anger to arrive. They located the warehouse of bones and dug a pit with difficulty, from which a wooden box was found. In the boxes, there were some pictures and household videotapes. They found the player and started watching the tape. The video of the tape was shot in 1995 and the person seen in the video was Boris. The filmer was seen angrily saying to Boris, "You have to play this, damn, you have to do what he says." Boris hid his face with pain. The filmer kept shouting, "Hurry up or else we will all die." Then Boris picked up Sashan, took off his clothes, and tore the skin of his chest. His pained screams echoed throughout the room. The next moment he pounced on the photographer and dropped his camera. As soon as the camera fell, a cat jumped in front of the lens. Even after watching the video, no one understood what it was. Then the electricity went out. They went to check the generator, but everything was going well. While returning, suddenly, a scream was heard from the house. When I ran inside, Jenny and Lena were pointing towards the sofa in fear. There was a bloody cat sitting there, which looked very terrible. The scary thing was that it looked like the cat in the video went to find Valine. The cameraman angrily said that he would leave from here. The cameraman calmed down after everyone explained. But Lin Mei gave a disappointing news. He said that from the video and the events here, the rumors of Boris summoning evil spirits are true, and the film crew has also summoned such spirits. Lin Mei warned that it would be dangerous to drive away the demon without it, but no one agreed. Everyone wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. The next morning, Shinichi and Lena had strange scratches on their backs, as if someone had scratched them. Shinichi was completely broken after seeing the CCTV footage. He asked Lena to call a friend. He did not want to stay here even for a moment, but soon Lena told that her friend's phone was switched off, and the network signal here was also getting weak. Shinichi could not remain calm at all. He insisted on leaving, even after everyone refused. The director was forced to let him out. Lena and the cameraman asked Lin Mei what to do now. Lin Mei said she's looking at the pictures to identify the demon so she can send it back if she figures out who it is. Then, suddenly, they heard the director scream from outside and they ran towards the direction of his voice with the camera. That's where they saw the shocking scene. Nearby, on the hill, they discovered the guide's car covered in blood, but the guide's body was nowhere to be seen. Everyone was terrified at that moment, wondering why the violent people had trapped him there if the guide hadn't run away with the money and why he had been missing for 2 days. They were puzzled, so they returned to Lin Mei. Lin Mei insisted that nobody could leave without confronting the demon once it had been summoned, or death was certain. But how could they accept that? They couldn't understand, so they went back to Lin Mei. Lin Mei explained that once the demon is summoned, it must be chased away, or else death is inevitable. However, they were puzzled about how to process all of this. Now that people have died, everything's changed. If these weird things are true, we need to leave fast or we could be next. So they ran straight to the forest without packing. But as they walked, they got weaker, making it hard to even stand. After a full day of walking, they couldn't go on. Night fell quickly, and the forest got cold. They went back to the wooden house. Once inside, they said they'd studied the place well. Photos and videos showed that the monster Boris summoned was Russia's worst serial killer and crazy poet, known as the Russian Jack the Ripper. He killed and ate over 50 people in 12 years. His brother was eaten during a famine. Lin May was sure this spirit was Chikatilo's. Lin May said she'd do a strong ritual at night to tell Chikatilo they're not linked to his brother's death and ask him to leave. Night fell quickly. Lin May lit a fire in the house. She lit candles, chanted in every corner, then told everyone to sit at the table. He said, but just as they were about to start, all the candles and fire suddenly went out. Lin May said, I guessed right, he's here. Then she recited a mantra. Chikatilo, return to your world. We'll leave peacefully. Chikatilo, or else fire will burn you. As she said cup, it slipped. Lin May called his name, but the ritual was unfinished. A force rose and the room darkened. As the camera lit up, chaos erupted in the room. Shockingly, Lin May sat on a sofa in another room, head bowed in pain. Lina tried to comfort Lin May, but she seemed possessed. She lunged at Lina. Everyone pulled them apart. Once separated, Lin May stood up, yelling angrily, Do as I say! In the north courtyard, find the crossmarked tree. 5 meters into the river, dig up items. Then she fainted on the sofa. Clearly an evil spirit possessed her. The exorcism ritual wouldn't work now. The others struggled for a while, finally deciding to obey the evil spirit, as only then would it leave them. They ventured into the forest, found a marked tree and dug 5 meters ahead. They dug for hours, finding nothing. Just as they were about to give up, the pit collapsed, revealing a tunnel. The director went to investigate and found a pile of white bones. Lina suggested they might belong to the evil spirit's brother. She thought returning and cremating the bones might appease the spirit. All agreed, except the director, who wanted to use the bones for bargaining. As soon as she said this, Jenny changed. She shoved the director into the tunnel and fled. Ignoring his injured leg, the director sent the cameraman after Jenny. He found her unconscious under a massive tree in the forest. He woke Jenny and asked why she pushed the director. But Jenny claimed she couldn't remember anything. They both returned to find the others, but only a torch remained. The rest had vanished. They tried to pry open the cavern, but rapidly admitted defeat, heading back to the hut. Suddenly, in the curve's shadow, dark shapes emerged. They know now it was their time. A dark shadow charged at them. They bolted towards the forest, but the cameraman was grabbed. Before Jenny could respond, she saw black shoes behind her and she was pulled away too. Jenny continued to scream, but swiftly grasped she was in a tunnel. She rose and looked for an exit in the camera's light. Around the bend, she saw the mangled corpse of the guide. Then a black shadow lunged at her. She ran, but heard the cameraman's cries before he was dragged into a narrow crevice. Then the sounds of gnashing and screams began. Jenny knew it was over. She continued searching for the exit, fleeing from the dark figure. Slowly, she made it to the tunnel's deepest section, where all the tunnels converged. In the middle was a large room with iron hooks and wooden frames, like a slaughterhouse. Suddenly, she felt as though she saw Lina stood there, softly weeping. She quickly approached her. She asked, "Where are we? What is happening?" Lena whispered to Jenny, "Violence is here, always has been." She deceived all, devouring souls to strengthen Chikatilo. Chikatilo's inside her, wanting humans to become flesh. Only then can she return. A distant growl was heard. Lena panicked. As Jenny spoke, violence appeared suddenly. Jenny understood, tried to flee, but was knocked down. The camera fell. Violence stabbed and devoured Jenny. She force-fed Lena Jenny's flesh, saying, "She grows in you." Caressing Lena's belly, she spoke, then broke the camera light. Lena will birth Chikatilo in eternal darkness. The film ends. This fake documentary's overall impact is effective. The setting and eerie atmosphere work well, but the author may have shown too much, making it seem unrealistic. However, all things considered, it's a decent attempt.